My name is Nazir King. I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. I'm 19, and today I'll be interviewing Rep Walker. Who is Rep Walker?
Wow, that's a heavy question. Who am I? I'm a state rep from New Haven, Connecticut. I've been a state rep since 2000. I came here from my job. I was an assistant principal in an adult high school, and I came to Hartford because I met a lot of kids that were going through the system because of silly things like not going to school and things like that. And then I went and visited some of them, like at Manson and some of the detention centers. And what I saw was kids that just didn't know what they were doing. And they're just being kids, but they were being judged like adults, and it infuriated me. So I decided that was going to be my mission coming up to Hartford, is to try and make things easier for people who made silly mistakes because they're kids. We do that. I mean, did you ever do any silly mistakes? See? And you, for the grace of God, you didn't have a problem, but there were many that didn't. And that's part of the reason why I did it.
What would you say your role is within JJPOC, and what made you get into that work?
When I came up to start doing the work with on juveniles, I found that everybody put money was the main focus of why they never did anything. They would say that it costs too much to do different things, and to me, there's never enough money to protect kids. So I had to make people understand that our responsibility for the kids of the state are us trying to provide for them so that they have a better opportunity of growing and having opportunities and things that maybe they never even thought they were going to. So what I did was try and learn about budgeting, because the first time I went to some judges and said, I'd like to raise the age of adult jurisdiction, and they said, oh, it's going to cost $100 million. And I said, $100 million? And back in the 2000s and the early 2000s, $100 million was a lot. So for me, I said, well, don't you understand the benefits of us doing that? Because they were only looking at the cost, but they're looking at the immediate cost, because the cost goes farther along than that. See that sign up there where it says the cost is $3.8 million? The benefit is $1 million. Basically what they're saying is it costs more to keep a child incarcerated than to develop a child. And so I had to prove to people that that's what we should be doing, looking at the benefits as opposed to looking at the negatives. And that was why I started doing money. And I said, if I do money, how is this going to help me? So we have different committees. And I started out in human services, and that helped me a little bit to learn Department of Children and Families and things that were directly related to the kids. But it was the money. Everybody always went back to the cost, So that's when I decided I wanted to be appropriations chair, because that's the person who handles the purse. So then that gave me an opportunity to prove to people that it saves so much more money when we give children a chance to be who they are and what they want to be. I mean, I made mistakes. We all made mistakes. And that's something that happens because we don't always know what's right or wrong all the time. Sometimes we do, sometimes. You ever do that? You ever get in trouble, get ready to do something and say, oh, that might get a little problem in that. Yeah, see? Yeah. But that's okay. That way you learn what's right or wrong. But when you assume that somebody doesn't have somebody always around telling them that, they are the ones that always pay a little bit more. And I started seeing that it was mostly black and brown children who were in prison, much higher than I expected. So I said, let me learn about the budget. Let me learn about how do I save money for the state that can be invested in the kids. And that's what I did. By not having kids go to prison, that $3.8 million, I want us to invest that $1 million in helping our children have a better life. So that's why I did it. And that's what I did when I got elected to come up here, was to start to look at how do we spend the money and stuff. Like we talk in the committee meetings and everything, when we talk about, because you've asked me some questions about the committees, and you've said,
like, where's the money going?
Yeah,
budgets,
exactly.
Yeah.
See? So it all fits in. And so it was a learning for you and it was a learning for me. I just learned a little earlier, so I was just helping you learn then. That was all.
How do you handle situations where you agree with people? And let's say we're in like a JJPOC situation, and like somebody like gets unprofessional or they say something that like you don't really like agree with.
I try to listen to what people are saying. One thing it took me a long time to learn is you can't take things personal. Then it becomes about me, and I want it to be about you. So I had to learn to separate from that. so that I wasn't taking it personal. I mean, I have my bad days just like everybody else. There are days when, and I want to basically tell people what to do with their thoughts, but then I know that that's not what I can do, because I was sent up here to give opportunities for people to have their thoughts. And when people disagree or I disagree, I will always, you watch me, there are two ways. And my staff knows this. If I'm really angry, what I'll do is I will take off my glasses and put them down. And then I'll lean into the person and say, now explain that to me one more time, because sometimes people don't hear what they're saying to you. Sometimes they just rattle things off. And so what I'll do is I'll say, explain it to me one more time. And when they explain to me, I'll say, so what you're telling me is it's much more important for us to put that child in prison than to give them a good education so that they can grow and they can be taxpayers and they can live next door to me or you and we can raise our families together. Better, they'd be in jail, right? And then they think about it. Sometimes they don't like to let me know that they think about it, but that's okay. I don't expect them to agree with me all the time. And the other thing, what I try to also do, demonstrate what we call statesmanship, because people will like to categorize you by your race as opposed to who you are. I want people to hear me. I want them to understand me and not shut me down. So I want to say, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it, because we can be civilized. And you know, right now, conversations are something that are very few and far between. People just sort of yell at each other and yell at each other. And we can't do that, and I can't support that, because that will never help me in getting whatever I'm trying to fight for. They're going to shut me down because I'm yelling, so I have to keep a statesman-like attitude so that they hear me and they realize that they're going to know what I'm saying and not say she's an angry black woman or something like that.
Okay, I have another question too. It's like, I see you up like a lot, like during the JJPOC meetings and stuff like that, but I also see a lot of people sleeping. So like, I just want to like know, like, how do you stay up compared to all the other people that are almost half asleep during the meetings?
Well, now some of them are there because they have to be there because it's their job, and then some of us are there because it's our passion. And when you're passionate about something, you can stay up. I mean, you know, when your adrenaline's running and you're playing your games and everything, you can keep your body going. Even when you're tired, you start out tired, but then when your adrenaline goes, you can really get it. It's the same thing. When I get excited about people learning or possibly understanding what I'm trying to talk about with the kids, then that keeps me up. And then I drink coffee.
What is the most successful thing that you would say you've done with JJPOC?
The best thing they're all successes. Anything that makes change is success to me. I have to make that. And it has to be in increments, because if you do it too hard and too fast, then that makes it very vulnerable to be pushed back. Laws can be made and laws can be taken away. So I have to make it so that the laws that we pass are firm enough so that they are not going to be changed. Once I leave, I don't want somebody to come in and get rid of all the laws. I want people to build off of the laws that I've helped put in place. The best time that I ever did was the very first time we did a rally for Raise the Age. And we couldn't figure out what to do, but we said we've got to make a big impact in the legislative office building so that people would see and say, what's going on? So what we did was we got everybody to wear orange t-shirts, and they all looked like they were coming out of CJTS, because Connecticut Juvenile Training Center, which you never ever should see. It was open, and the kids there had to wear those orange jumpsuits. But kids, when they went to Connecticut Juvenile Training School, it was not a juvenile training school, it was a prison, and they wore orange jumpsuits. So the day we had the hearing for Raise the Age, for the first time, which was from 15 to 16, we had everybody that was on there come in their orange shirts. And then if you look at the lobby and you look down, you have 5 different rows going up, and it was filled. I remember walking out and seeing the rows, and there was just a sea of orange t-shirts. And it showed the people here that many people came to fight for our kids, which made me feel like they get it. It's just sometimes they've been afraid to say so. And it was just, I remember crying. I'm getting ready to cry now because it was so exciting.
Why do you think professionals do what they do for kids in the system? People that are fighting to get kids out of the system and advocate for kids that are almost there.
Why? Probably for the same reasons pretty much what I feel, which is you guys are too important for us to walk away. Again, when I get old, I want to know that you know how to take care of me. I want to know that you're going to be able to take care of our society. Our society's got to live and survive, and things are challenging all the foundations of things, especially from when I grew up. When I grew up in a big family, but we had certain things that made us feel we were important. And so we want to make sure that each generation has an opportunity to feel important to somebody too. And that's what I think people really need to have is to keep that type of belief and nurturing, because we can't live by ourselves. We have to count. Somebody's going to be out there to drive your cars, or somebody's going to be there to teach you, or somebody's going to be there to do a variety of things, and they have a purpose and a value. So what we need to do is try and make sure that we understand that we all have a place in the society, but that helps us to grow, and you learning that as you grow through school helps you to understand where your purpose and your place is. It gives you value and makes you understand that you belong here and that you have gifts and things that we want to be shown out there for all of us. How do you feel when you go to JJ, when you start listening to the stuff that we're talking about? How does that make you feel?
Sometimes when I sit there and I listen, I just learn a bunch of different things like I didn't know. Like I didn't know like the youngest age you could be arrested before it was changed was 7. That's one of the first things I learned coming into JJPLC.
What do you think about that?
I thought that was pretty harsh because I can't imagine myself being 7 and being put in handcuffs or anything like that.
I met a kid, one kid in Manson. He was 10 years old. And you know why he got there? Because he was shooting out, I remember this, windows in an old abandoned factory in Waterbury. And he got arrested. And because of the fact that they considered the BB gun a violent or against the law for a 10-year-old to have, I guess, he got a long time. And he was going to be there after he graduated from high school. And the thing that was the saddest is that he cried when he was telling me that, but he was sucking his thumb. That was horrible. That was horrible because we could do that to children. So that's, I mean, don't you think about the fact that you learn things from adults? Not all good things, but you do learn things from adults. Do you think that everybody has those opportunities like that you do? No. So what happens to those kids? Who fights for them?
I feel like it's just whoever wants to fight for them. Like it's the people like you and the people in JJPLC and the people like myself that are like teen advocates that advocate for younger kids and people that are like troubled in the system. And
the other part is that's why we want you there, because we want to hear from you. I mean, we've lived it, but we don't always see all the things that you see. And that's why I'm always bugging you and saying, so what do you think? Go ahead, say something, because I want your voice. I want you to think about what we're doing and to participate. And you just validated that because you grew, because you didn't know about the fact that 7-year-olds were able to get arrested in the state. When I started, if you didn't go to school, you could get arrested. Do you know how many kids don't go to school? Yeah, I know you do. I know too. We don't like that number, but anyhow, they could go, if the law hadn't changed, all of them could be arrested and all of them could be in prison right now. That's horrible. Our laws didn't allow children to be children. And one of the things that we talked about in JJPLC when we first started was the fact that if you cannot rent a car until you're 25, because the insurance companies know that anybody up to 25 has a hard time reasoning because of the fact that the brain doesn't completely develop until you're 25. And so the insurance companies knew it, but yet our streets and our communities didn't know it. So it's something that we have to continue to fight for.
If there was one message that you can give to the youth, what would it be?
Believe in yourself. Know that you're smart. Know that you're gifted. Don't turn your back on the things that you would like to do. Do them, and always show people the best of yourself. Yeah, like I said, you got gifts. So show those gifts and let them see that and let yourself feel it. And if you get angry, feel it from here, because when you feel it from here, then you start to understand what your body is telling you and processing. And also watch yourself when you get angry. Help yourself to control that anger, because people don't hear you all the time when you get angry, just what I was saying before. So that way you can have a path that'll be wonderful. So I know you're going to have a good one. I'm going to come back and watch you. Okay? We still partners? I'll bring better snacks.